one of the most significant factors in recent times, tariffs. However, critics argued that the tariffs would ultimately harm the very workers they were intended to protect, leading to higher prices for consumers and businesses alike. The tariffs, they argued, would also invite retaliation from trading partners, potentially sparking a trade war that would benefit no one. This protectionist stance, a hallmark of the Trump administration's economic policy, had been a source of tension since the president took office.
People are asking whether Chase is prepared, how the process would unfold.
The imposition of tariffs sets off a chain reaction. One of the most immediate and significant impacts is on inflation. However, indications of a cautious approach might weaken the dollar and make gold more attractive. If the Fed signals an aggressive tightening approach, it could put downward pressure on gold and increase demand for the dollar. Conversely, if the minutes reveal hesitation about further rate hikes due to economic uncertainty, gold could see a rally as investors hedge against inflation risks. An unexpected rise in claims could signal economic weakness, potentially weakening the U.S. dollar and boosting gold prices as a safe haven. Now, onto the gold market. Gold prices have seen a modest increase driven by a weaker dollar and uncertainties around the Ukraine peace deal and U.S. tariff policies. Spot gold rose 0.3% to $2,866.19 per ounce, while U.S. gold futures climbed 1% to $2,875.80. Let's switch gears to the stock market. The Conference Board's coincident. Economic index for the U.S. rose by 0.3% in January 2025 to 114.3, indicating steady economic activity. However, a sharp rise in claims may indicate economic instability, leading to a bearish sentiment for the dollar and pushing investors toward gold as a hedge against uncertainty. Touch on the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin prices exceeded $92,000 following President Trump's reiteration of support for a U.S. crypto strategic reserve. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 lost 0.97%, and the Nasdaq Composite had its worst week since September, falling 3.47%. Conversely, a decline in claims would suggest a robust labor market, supporting the dollar and possibly increasing oil demand due to anticipated economic growth. A declining trend in unemployment claims often suggests strong consumer confidence and spending, which can drive up oil demand as economic activity increases. The announcement marked an escalation of Trump's protectionist trade policies that had already injected a significant degree of uncertainty into the global economy. The announcement of the tariffs sent a clear signal to the world. The U.S. was willing to prioritize its own economic interests, even at the expense of global trade relations. The impact of tariffs on the dollar is a story of interconnected forces, a delicate dance between supply and demand, economic growth, and global trade flows. Market consensus is that the Fed will maintain the federal funds rate within the current range of 4.25% to 4.50%. The trade deficit is a complex issue influenced by various factors, including macroeconomic conditions, exchange rates, and consumer spending patterns. The annual inflation rate in the U.S. edged up to 3% in January 2025, compared to 2.9% in December 2024. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's crucial to understand the forces at play and their potential ramifications for the U.S. economy and the world. I'm here to give you the latest scoop on the U.S. dollar, Federal Reserve policies, gold markets, and some key economic indicators. These tariffs, targeting steel and aluminum imports, were met with immediate concern and condemnation from economists and trading partners alike. It's a delicate balancing act, with the Federal Reserve carefully weighing the potential consequences of its actions. The imposition of tariffs throws a wrench into this delicate. Investors should stay informed and exercise caution, considering both global and domestic factors that could impact their portfolios. In this era of trade wars and economic uncertainty, understanding the interplay between tariffs and the dollar is paramount.
And documentation requirements more stringent.
President Trump has enacted new tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada. Now, shifting our attention to the labor market, another high-impact report to watch is the weekly unemployment claims data. As the week unfolds, we'll monitor these events closely to keep you informed about their potential impacts on the markets. This cautious stance is mainly due to economic uncertainties and potential inflationary pressures from proposed tariffs. When U.S. interest rates rise relative to interest rates in other countries, the dollar becomes becomes more
expect to
attractive to
schedule
foreign
appointments
investors.
in advance,
Higher interest
and
rates
even
can help
then,
to cool down
cash
an overheated
availability may
economy
depend
by
on
making it
branch
more
capacity.
expensive to borrow
If
money.
your plans
The
rely
Dow
on
Jones
immediate
Industrial
cash
Average was the
access,
only key
this
index
is one
to
area
gain,
where
rising
setting
by
up in advance will be vital.
0.95%.
Planning
President
now
Trump,
could
in a
prevent
move that sent
frustrating
shockwaves
delays
through
when the
global
time
markets,
finally comes.
announced a new round
Let's
of tariffs.
continue where we
As
left
prices
off.
rise, the Federal
One
Reserve,
widespread
tasked with maintaining
misunderstanding
price
is the
stability,
belief that an
may feel
IQD
compelled to
exchange
take
chase will be
action.
a quick,
The
one-day
situation is
transaction.
fluid, and it
That's
is still
not how
too early to
large-scale
fully assess
financial
the long-term
processes typically
impact
work.
of these tariffs.
Be prepared for a
Stay tuned
multi-step
for our
journey
midweek
that may
updates
stretch
as we
over several
delve deeper
days
into
or
how
longer,
these
depending
developments
on
are
key
shaping the
factors.
financial
Your
landscape.
account type, whether you're an existing Chase client, how complete
On February
your
10th,
documentation
2025,
is, and
the
how
world
many
watched
others
as
are in
the
line.
interplay between
All of this
tariffs,
will affect
inflation,
your time.
interest rates, and the
Simply put,
value of the
process
dollar
won't
is
be
complex
rushed.
and
Flexibility
multifaceted.
and
The
foresight
tariffs
will
on
be essential
steel and
assets as
aluminum
you
were simply
navigate
the
the
latest
post-RV
salvo in what
landscape.
promised to be a
If your goal
protracted
is to
trade
have a
battle,
smooth and
plus
timely
gold markets
experience,
and
you'll
some key
want to
economic
adopt a
indicators.
strategic mindset
So let's
now,
jump right into it
well
and keep you
before
ahead of
any
the curve.
revaluation
If the
is
minutes reveal
formally
concerns about
declared.
rising inflation,
Every
it
day
could
you
signal a
spend
more
preparing in
hawkish
advance
monetary
will
policy,
increase your odds of
strengthening the
faster
U.S. dollar.
processing and more
And remember,
favorable outcomes.
financial markets are
Think of
influenced
it
by a
this way.
multitude of
You're
factors,
not just
and
holding a
conditions
foreign
can change
currency.
rapidly.
You're
This can lead
managing
to
a
increased
potential
demand for
financial
U.S.
event.
products and
You'll
subsequently
need a
a
plan in
higher
place
demand
before
for the
walking
dollar.
into any
The
bank,
administration believes that
especially
unfair
one as
trade
large
practices
and
by Canada
regulated
and
as
Mexico
Chase.
have harmed the U.S.
Now,
economy.
let's go over
Investors
5
will
smart
scrutinize
actions
these
you can
minutes
take
for insights
immediately
into the
to prepare.
Fed's stance on inflation
First,
and future
if you
interest
haven't
rate
already,
adjustments.
open a Chase bank account.
Weekly unemployment claims data are due on Thursday by the Trump administration as a necessary measure to protect American jobs and industries. This increase in cost is often passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices, fueling inflationary pressures. How? By stifling global trade, creating uncertainty, and potentially sparking inflation. It's a story that continues to unfold, with each new tariff announcement adding a new chapter. The FOMC is scheduled to meet on March 18, 2025. The tariffs, a 25% levy on steel and a 10% levy on aluminum, were positioned. However, one thing is certain. These tariffs mark a significant shift in U.S. trade policy. The new tariffs on Mexico and Canada signal an escalation of protectionist trade policies. Hey everyone, welcome to the Market Newsroom. I'm here to give you the latest scoop on the U.S. dollar, Federal Reserve policy, and business-friendly policies could boost investor confidence and drive market gains.
And create backup strategies in
On the
case
other hand,
appointments are
a speech
needed.
focused on economic growth,
start
tariffs
thinking
can strengthen the
ahead about
dollar
what
in the
you'll do
short
once
term
your
by making
exchange
imported
is
goods
complete.
more expensive.
Will you invest, pay off debt,
As we
purchase real
continue to
estate, or
analyze
consult a
market-moving
tax
events,
strategist?
one of the Fed's primary
Don't leave those
tools for
decisions
combating
until the last
inflation is
minute.
adjusting
Talk
interest
to a
rates.
licensed financial
However,
planner
the
or tax
effectiveness of tariffs in
professional now,
reducing the
so you
trade
can act
deficit
fast
is
when your
debatable.
funds
Light
clear.
selling pressure
Timing
and is hovering
and
around
efficiency will matter,
107.25.
especially if
This
capital
can slow down
gains or
spending and
reporting
investment,
obligations come into
ultimately
play.
helping to curb inflation.
Another point worth addressing
Retaliatory
is
tariffs from
digital
these
versus
countries could
physical
significantly
settlement.
harm American farmers. Until next time,
post-revaluation
stay
world,
informed and
don't
make
expect
smart
to receive a
investment decisions.
briefcase full of
Markets,
cash from
making
the teller.
U.S. exports more
It's far
expensive
more
and
likely
imports
your
cheaper.
funds will be
They
transferred
place a significant
electronically
import
into
tax on a
verified
wide
accounts.
range of products.
Wire
When tariffs are imposed on
internal
imported
Chase
goods,
account
the
transfers,
cost of those
and
goods
certified
increases.
bank checks
However,
will likely
higher
be the
interest rates
standard.
can also have a
In
significant
rare
impact
cases
on the
where cash
value
is
of the
required,
U.S. dollar.
strict
The
protocols
Federal
and prior
Reserve will release the
arrangements will
minutes from
apply.
its January
The
meeting
best
on
approach
Wednesday.
here is to
Its
schedule
value
those
is constantly in
needs early
flux,
and expect
influenced by a
limits
myriad
based
of
on
factors.
location and amount. This brings us to a broader reality.
The U.S. dollar, as
revaluation
tensions
could
with
trigger
major
a wave
economies
of new
could impact
financial
market
scrutiny.
stability. They have the
Large-scale
potential to
IQD
reshape North
exchanges
American
might
trade
draw
relations.
attention
For
from federal
personalized
oversight
investment
bodies,
advice, always
including the
consult with a
IRS
financial
and
advisor.
Treasury Department.
Traders should pay close
Chase,
attention
like
to
all
any
major
discussion
US
on
banks,
interest rates.
will need to remain fully compliant with
It's
financial
a symbol of American
disclosure
economic
rules,
might.
currency
However,
transaction
tariffs can
reporting
also weaken the
thresholds,
dollar
and
in the long
anti-fraud
run.
measures.
Inflation and
That's
economic
why having your
indicators are also worth
documentation
mentioning.
prepared
The
and your
tariffs
story
are a major
straight
development
is not
in
just
U.S.
smart,
trade policy.
it's
He
essential.
imposed
The
tariffs on
smoother
goods
your
from China
paper trail,
earlier in his
the fewer
presidency.
questions
This
you'll
report
face.
provides a snapshot of
It's
the
also
labor
important to
market's health.
understand that
The
speculation
consequences
is not
of this shift will be
confirmation.
felt for
As of
years
the
to
current
come.
date
So
in
let's
the
jump
USA,
right into
there
it
has
and
been
keep
no
you ahead of the
official
curve.
statement from the Federal
Another
Reserve,
crucial update
US
will come from the
Treasury, or
Federal
major
Reserve.
US banks,
Some
including
industries
Chase,
welcome the protection from
confirming
foreign
a revaluation
competition.
event
If you found
or
this
an
update
immediate
helpful, please
post-RV
like and
exchange
subscribe
plan.
for more insights.
That hasn't
A
stopped
domino
rumors
effect
from
that
spreading,
ripples through the
especially
global
in social
economy.
media media circles
As
and
of
private
March
chat
3rd,
rooms.
2025,
cautious
the
where you
DXY
get
is
your
experiencing
information.
these
Always
tariffs are not the
cross-check
first
safety
instance
data
of
before
President Trump
proceeding
taking
with
such
action
measures.
on several
This increased demand for
established
dollars
safety
can push up the
profiling
value of the
institutions.
dollar in foreign
If and
exchange.
when the
Traders should also watch
revaluation
for any
does take place,
geopolitical
expect
comments.
media
These
attention
tariffs
to
took effect in
surge,
early
and so will the
2025.
demand for accurate answers. At that point,
Hey everyone!
channels
These
like
actions
Iraqi
sparked
Dinar
a
News
trade
will
war
continue
between the
to
two
provide
economic
verified,
giants. The
practical,
relationship
and
between the two
timely
is complex
information
and
to help
often
you take the
unpredictable.
right steps.
The tariffs have been met
Whether
with
you're
mixed
exchanging
reactions.
a modest
Thank you
amount
for
or
watching the
managing a
Market Newsroom.
significant investment,
Next, let's talk about the
staying
Federal
calm,
Reserve.
informed, and
This
organized
expectation
will
is
be your
influencing
greatest
the dollar's
advantage.
recent performance.
As we
Of
wait
market
for more
forecasts of
clarity from the global
2.9%.
financial
Main
community,
disruptions are the main
one
drivers.
thing remains true.
Higher energy costs
Those
and
who prepare
persistent
in
supply chain.
advance
It's the
will
world's
be
reserve
positioned
currency.
to move quickly
Welcome to the
and
Market
securely.
Newsroom that would
And
benefit
if you're
no
wondering
one.
about the role
This
of
protectionist
policymakers
stance, a
like
hallmark
former
of the
President
Trump
Trump in
administration's
shaping
economic
currency
policy,
reform or
had been a
related
source of
executive
tension since the
actions,
president took
that's
office.
a topic we'll be covering in an upcoming report, so stay
The
tuned.
imposition of tariffs
Thanks
sets
for
off a
watching
chain
Iraqi
reaction.
Dinar
One of the most
News.
immediate and
Be sure to
significant
follow for
impacts
the
is on
latest
inflation.
updates, policy
However,
breakdowns,
indications
and
of a cautious
bank-specific
approach might
guidance
weaken
on
the dollar and
IQD
make gold
exchange
more attractive.
process.
If the
Until
Fed
next
signals
time,
an aggressive
stay
tightening approach,
informed
it could
and
put
stay
downward
ready.
pressure